Hey, I'm Alex, and this is Wealth Unspoken. So, you've probably heard that billionaires wake up at 4 a.m., and most people think it's about productivity, discipline, or just getting more done. But that's not it at all. Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, wakes up at 3:45 a.m. Howard Schultz, Starbucks' former CEO, wakes at 4:30 a.m. And Amazon's Jeff Bezos used to wake up at 5 a.m., and he thought that he was sleeping in. And every productivity guru on the internet will tell you, wake up early, that's the secret, that's how you get ahead. But here's what I've learned after years of studying this. The 4 a.m. wake up isn't about getting more done. It's not about discipline. It's not even about productivity. It's about something completely different. And once you understand what it actually is, you'll realize why most people who try to copy it fail. Here's the problem with how most people think about waking up early. They think it's a productivity hack. If I wake up earlier, I'll have more time to work. I'll get ahead of everyone else. I'll be more successful. So they set their alarm for 4 a.m. and they drag themselves out of bed. They're exhausted, but they force themselves through a morning routine. And they wonder why it doesn't work, because they're copying the behavior without understanding the reasoning behind it. Billionaires don't wake up early just to get more things done. They wake up at 4 because of what those hours give them, and it's probably not what you think. Here's the first thing most people miss. Waking up at 4 a.m. isn't about adding hours to your day. It's about protecting the hours that you already have. Think about it. If you wake up at 7 a.m., what happens? Your phone is already buzzing, emails are piling up, and people need things from you, your family, your job, and anyone else competing for your attention. Your day starts in reactive mode. But at 4 a.m., nobody's awake. Nobody's emailing, nobody's calling, and nobody needs anything from you. It's not more time, it's more uninterrupted time. And for people who run billion-dollar companies, who make decisions that affect thousands of employees, who are constantly being pulled in 10 million directions, uninterrupted time is the most valuable thing they have. They're not waking up early to work more. They're waking up early to think without distractions, without interruptions, and without anyone needing anything. That's what a 4 a.m. wake-up call actually gives you, not productivity, but clarity. Here's the second thing people get wrong. They think billionaires who wake up super early are just more disciplined than everyone else. Like they're forcing themselves to wake up early through sheer willpower. But that's not how it works. If you wake up at 4, but you're only sleeping 5 hours, you're not disciplined. You're just sleep deprived. And sleep deprived people don't make billion-dollar decisions. But here's what actually happens. Billionaires who wake up at 4 a.m. go to bed at 8 or 9 p.m. They're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. They're not sacrificing rest. They're just shifting their schedules. Apple's Tim Cook goes to bed at 9 p.m. Amazon's Jeff Bezos prioritizes 8 hours of sleep. They're not grinding on 4 hours of sleep and pretending it's a superpower. They're just early risers. But most people who try to copy this don't adjust their sleep. They stay up until midnight watching TV. Then they set their alarm for 4 a.m. and they wonder why they're exhausted. You can't just wake up earlier. You have to plan ahead. You have to go to bed earlier. You have to eat dinner earlier. And most people aren't willing to do that because going to bed at 8 o'clock means missing out. No late night TV, no bedtime scrolling on your phone, and no staying up with friends. That's the real sacrifice. Not waking up early, but going to bed early. Here's the third thing people don't understand. Waking up early isn't a habit you can just bolt onto your life. It's a complete lifestyle shift. When you wake up in the early morning hours, your entire day changes. You eat breakfast earlier, you work earlier, you're tired earlier, and you go to bed earlier. Your social life changes. You can't go out for late dinners. You can't stay up watching movies. You can't hang out with friends until midnight. And most people aren't willing to make that trade, and that's fine. But you can't cherry pick the wake-up time without the lifestyle changes. Billionaires who wake up at 4 a.m. have structured their entire lives around it. Their families know, their teams know, and their schedules accommodate it. But most people who try to wake up at 4 a.m. do so while keeping everything else the same. And it won't work because it's not a hack. It's a complete lifestyle. Here's the fourth thing, and this is where it really clicks. Billionaires aren't optimizing for more time. They're optimizing for peak energy. Here's what they understand. Your brain doesn't work the same all day. You have windows of peak performance. Times when you're sharp, focused, and creative, and times when you're not. For most people, that peak window is in the morning, the first 2 to 3 hours after you wake up. So if you wake up at 7 a.m. and immediately start checking emails, putting out fires, reacting to other people's needs, then you just burned your peak hours on low-value work. But if you wake up at 4 a.m., you get those peak hours to yourself. You can think, you can strategize, you can work on what actually matters before the rest of the world wakes up. That's what billionaires are protecting, not time, energy. Here's the final point, and this might be the most important one. Most people don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. Seriously, if you're not running a billion-dollar company, if you're not managing thousands of people, if you're not constantly being pulled in a million directions, you probably don't need to wake up that early. Because the reason billionaires wake up at 4 a.m. is to protect their time from interruptions. But if you're not getting interrupted all day, you don't need a 4 o'clock alarm to find uninterrupted time. You can just turn off your phone for 2 hours, close your email, block your calendar, schedule out your day, The principle is the same. Protect your peak energy hours for deep work, but you don't need to wake up super early to do that. And here's the thing that really matters. Some people are night owls, like yours truly. Their peak energy is at night, not in the morning. If that's you, forcing yourself to wake up before the sun is working against your biology. You're going to be tired, foggy, and less productive. The lesson isn't wake up at 4 a.m. The lesson is protect your peak energy hours. For some people, that's 4 a.m. For others, it's 10 p.m. Don't copy the behavior. Instead, understand the principle. So, stop trying to copy the 4 a.m. wake-up routine and start protecting your time, your energy, and your focus. That's what billionaires are actually doing, and that's what actually works. I'm Alex, and that's Wealth Unspoken.